everyone, Danielle Basilio here with UNLV Wrestling. Now, it's been quite a while since you've heard from anyone on the team, so who better to catch up with than assistant coach Jordan Karst? How are we doing today, coach?
Great. Awesome to be here. How are you doing?
I'm doing well myself. So really the last time anyone has heard anything from the team was back at NWCA Nationals in March of 2020. That was kind of the last time you guys competed, and at the same time, the world was kind of undergoing COVID. COVID was still unfolding. So just take me back to that moment. What do you recall from it?
Man, I was when the tournament had first started, we were obviously as coaches pretty absorbed into the match. Even just starting from the first round and then going through the rest of the first round of the tournament. You kind of slowly heard little bits and pieces about what was going on. This state, or this state's having problems too. And then things kind of picked up with more information leading through the rest of that session. Again, we were absorbed into the wrestling. Our guys were off to an amazing first round. They were getting after it, listening well, wrestling well. It was awesome. We ended up having a coaches meeting where they kind of filled us in on more, I'd say more official information. And from there, it was more of hearing people on the left side, oh, we want to stay, right side, like, well, why do we have to go home? That kind of stuff was going on. And it was really winging it, seat of the pants there. They're like, hey, we'll do this and this as guidelines. We'll update you guys with more information. And honestly, it was hard to continue coaching for a little bit after having that little meeting right there. It's just like, wow, all right, we're going to get called to go home. What's going to happen? And again, our guys are getting right to work. They're doing great, wonderful. You slowly start to see college by college teams kind of packing it up and going. Oh. And we're sitting there like, oh God, is it us? Is it our turn? Everyone check your phone. No missed calls yet. Okay, let's keep going.
It's a true testament to you guys as a coach, keeping your guys focused. But what were some of those conversations you guys were having with your athletes about maybe COVID and focusing on more of the tournament instead of what's going around them?
Well, obviously, we relayed all the information as far as guidelines go. Told them, hey, guys, rest this tournament until we're either called or we're on the podiums. Keep track of your hygiene. Make sure everything is washed at the end of the night. Everyone showers at the end of the night. As far as all of that goes, that's it. Focus on wrestling. During
that whole time, was there ever a fact that you guys are like, oh no, this is for sure getting canceled? Because in the world around you guys, Pac-12 was being canceled out of nowhere. Yeah. Just a lot of big sporting events just canceled.
Even being there at the time, definitely not a far stretch of the mind. Like I said, you're seeing some colleges get that phone call and they got to pack up and time to go home. We figured one or the other was going to happen. Either they're going to shut down the tournament or UNLV is going to give us a call and say, hey, show's over, bring it on back. So the rest of the team was very hopeful we'd finish the tournament, but we kind of knew, both of those have really great possibility of happening. Be prepared.
You guys worked through it all. You guys had an extremely successful tournament as well. You guys finished 8th out of 90 teams during that. You had 14 guys on the field, 10 the year before that. And the year before that, it was only 5. So a lot of growth within the program. And not to mention, you guys came home with an All-American in Michael Canada, the first freshman All-American.
Oh, man.
Yeah. So what does that speak to in terms of the work ethic of these guys?
Well, given the amount of resources that we have, obviously, is not so much funded club. There's not really a lot, and just the kind of environment situation that creates really is the best thing about it. They respond well. They're all about hard work, and God, it's hard to sit there and describe it. They do so well.
As a coach, you must be looking down on these guys like a proud older brother. And I say older brother because you were actually part of the wrestling program yourself before you became an assistant coach. So how did you get involved with all of that?
I say that I didn't really know anything about it until it happened. But if you asked some of the coaches, you asked Daryl Hall, you asked James Downing, this was probably, they were thinking about this for a couple weeks before it happened.
You
I
tell.
had, so I wrestled in Division One. I did 4 years at Utah Valley University. And at the end of my degree, I figured, well, I've got my paper. I'm going to go home. We'll look into graduate programs, kind of start settling with life, get things going. So I go home back here in Las Vegas, Nevada. I decide to give a hand every now and then to Centennial High School, my alma mater, just because, man, you want to know where we all get the idea of how a program should look or how we should conduct ourselves as coaches and as wrestlers. That place is the epitome. That's them right there. They're wonderful. But I was helping out with them for a little bit, helping with their JV, and James and Daryl showed up to a duel one night. And I saw him from across the mat, kind of waved at him like, oh, hey guys, what's up? How are you doing? By then, it'd already been maybe about a year and some months since I had stopped wrestling. And Daryl comes right over. He's wearing this big old zip-up jacket, unzips it, it just says UNLV Wrestling right across the chest. And he goes, so yeah, I'm coaching now. It's time, Jordan. I know you have 1 year left. I'm like, okay. So I kind of jumped on right around Christmas break. If I remember correctly, we had the Wartburg duels, and that was my first competition with them. So didn't really have a lot in means of turnaround to get ready for this. We just kind of jumped right in. It was a great time. Having just a really humble group of guys, a lot of town home guys. They're wonderful. So having that kind of spark back in the wrestling room, as far as going to like a big college, everything's all business, all serious. Just the level of camaraderie that they had when I showed up was outstanding. It made me want to get back in shape, got me wanting to compete for sure again. And you know what? They got me all the way to Texas that first time, and more than proud to stand on the podium for them. It was an absolutely great time.
Yeah, and I mean, that's a big flex because not only were you able to get on the podium, but you were the first All-American for the program after the rebirth of it all. So what does that title mean to you?
Oh man, I gotta tell you, so it may not be the first time being an All-American for sure, but my goodness, is it my absolute favorite. Just to come home and do something so impactful as a contribution means the absolute world to me. Because I mean, when you graduate college and you were done wrestling, I mean, the biggest thing that was always ever in my mind was, okay, well, how can I go get back? Am I going to coach high school? Am I going to go learn about youth? Am I going to try and move somewhere with a training center? And when that happened, hey, that's wonderful. Let's go do it. I'm in. Why not?
And for sure, that impact extends more than the impact it has within yourself, but to the team that you are able to coach right now. So maybe like, what's one of those philosophies that you learned being a wrestler yourself that you tend to put on your athletes right now when you coach them?
I think the biggest thing that's always helped me get better and that I try to give to the rest of the team is always pushing for one more, maybe a rep, a single leg, a double leg, maybe one more near fall. And a lot of the things that I learned in college, as far as workouts and some of the specific drills that we've started using in practice, really focus on getting these guys into that mindset. Okay, let's do one more. I don't know how many more is left, but I'm doing one more. There's going to be at least one more.
Let me tell you, UNLV is fortunate to have an amazing coach like you with a wealth of experience. But today we talked a lot about Jordan, the coach, Jordan, the wrestler. So I thought it'd be really fun for UNLV wrestling fans out there to get to know you a little bit as a person. So I have 5
Okay.
rapid fire questions, and these are totally non-wrestling related. So just the most
Oh,
random
wow.
questions. Yeah.
Okay.
So we'll see how this goes, but no pressure at all. First question is, if you could eat one food for the rest of your life, what would that food be?
Ooh, sushi, easily.
Number 2, what's one of your favorite hobbies to do?
Ooh, wow. Okay, let me give 2 because I only got 2 that I'm doing all the time now.
Okay, perfect.
So one, and a lot of people who follow UNLV wrestling, but probably also know me personally, know that I really enjoy Pokemon. So Ironically, yeah, I know.
That's awesome. No. What do you
So,
like about it?
well, just to put it into like my daily like workout routine and stuff, I'll play Pokemon Go and I'll run for hours. My God, hours. My other hobby right now that's been going for maybe like the last year, year and a half. As a hobby, I actually do voice acting. So I do a lot of voiceover work as well.
No way. What are some of the
Yeah.
projects that you've been involved with in voice acting?
So far, some small commercials, a lot of fan stuff, very small commercials.
Yeah,
And then currently just looking for more stuff to do. Honestly, it's oh my God, it's so fun. I absolutely love it.
that's amazing. I know these are rapid fire questions, but the journalist inside me wants to dig a little bit deeper. Can you give us
Okay.
your best voiceover voice?
I mean, I'm not gonna lie to you, just being a deeper voiced individual, this is kind of I'm already doing it.
Next question. What song do you have constantly on repeat?
Ooh, wow. That's dang, that's tough. Okay. Honestly, I don't know if I have an answer for that. Wow. No, no, it's definitely Bombs Over Baghdad by Outkast, for sure.
Okay, nice.
Yeah, definitely. All the time during workouts.
Very cool. All right. And number four, what would you consider to be your dream job?
Ooh, man, I really the dream would be being a head coach at a university for wrestling. That's kind of man, that's definitely the biggest dream there.
Final rapid fire question. What would you name this chapter in your life right now?
I would call it a new path. I think that sounds pretty good for me. I won't lie, when I was done wrestling Utah Valley, I wanted nothing to do with wrestling. I'll be pretty clear about that. I was pretty burnt out. I was like, man, so much time, so much effort, everything hurts. Oh my God, what am I doing? And really, the most I would do was kind of helping out with coaching. So for me, it was like, oh wow, right now I can't stand wrestling. But now, I've kind of figured out that wow, I don't have to be burnt out. I don't have to go down that path where I'm like constantly grumpy about wrestling. I actually want to be in it. It's something that's never going to leave my life. So for me, it's kind of walking a new path, knowing like, oh well, I can do whatever I want in this world. Wrestling is always going to be there. I'm always going to wrestle. Uh, I'm going to love it no matter what. Some days I'll hate it, but I'll always.
Kind of going off of that though, because I know you said Coach Daryl actually kind of got you into UNLV wrestling. So what were your initial thoughts about that? Were you still iffy about joining the program?
I definitely was because I do recall that summer I had graduated. I remember doing the U.S. Open, and I remember UNLV wrestling being brought up to me by someone. It wasn't Daryl at that point, but I remember someone had brought it up to me, and I was very, very, very uh, unavailable in the conversation. So by then, being kind of broken down bit by bit, being like, all right, fine, I'll come in. You guys got me. I was still a little nervous, still kind of not wanting to be in that kind of environment again, just because from being burnt out. So yeah, at that point, it was kind of iffy for me. It was a bit 50-50, but obviously that definitely changed.
It's really interesting because initially, like I thought you completing 4 years at your university, you wanted to still get back into it. And I didn't realize you were actually going through burnout and were kind of not pushed into it, but for lack of better words, pushed into it.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I have no shame in admitting it, but man, when I didn't start out as a wrestler. I mean, wrestling was kind of my, again, for lack of a better word, I guess, it was kind of my fallback plan. I was going to play football in college, decided against that and decided to wrestle instead. So I never really experienced like a full year round of wrestling. Usually it'd be football, wrestling, track, rinse, repeat. So 4 years of having a full year round, 4 times of wrestling, I wasn't used to it. Oh, I'm so burnt out.
So,
But
what
it
made you
was,
decide between wrestling and football? Or was it
uh,
even your decision?
you know, things kind of led to me making that decision, but the answers were kind of always there. As soon as I had originally signed to play football for Nebraska Kearney and I had broke my NLI, at that point. But during that time, I kind of had this same question, like, why are we going to do this? Is it really a good idea to fall back to wrestling? I mean, the accountability, the change just in my attitude, my demeanor, and the way I go about all my training, all my competitions, vastly different from how I treated football. Don't get me wrong, being a lineman's absolutely wonderful. I would get really bored during games when it was play. We go like maybe 5 yards, and then we do it
Right.
again and again and again. The body could do it, no problem, for as long as the game was going. I, brain-wise, would get really bored. And so with wrestling, man, all action all the time, you know, there's no break. There's not really timeouts, but there kind of is.
Yeah.
Uh, and it's nonstop action, which I really enjoy. It just kind of fits with me a lot better than football.
Hopefully when everything goes back to normal, we'll have some tournaments in the book where fans can come out and see these guys wrestle. In the meantime, make sure you guys are following UNLV social pages to keep up with the team and all the latest content coming out. So Coach Jordan, thank you so much for your time today. Really appreciate it.
Oh, no problem. Thank you so much.